Silent forces move around you. They whisper to the hearts of those chosen for something greater. You may feel it as a quiet pull, a subtle nudge guiding your steps, or a sudden clarity in moments of stillness. This is the call of the chosen one, a call not shouted from the skies, but felt deep within, where only the brave and attentive can hear. Few realize that being chosen is not about grandeur or recognition. It is about readiness and inner alignment that the universe waits for before bestowing its work upon you. The first act of this path is humility. Bow inwardly. Accept the guidance that has already found its way to you. Every great master, every silent warrior has started here, not with power, but with surrender. In this video, you will discover the hidden markers of this calling. You will learn how to recognize the subtle signs that signal divine purpose. You will understand why silence is more powerful than noise, why discipline of the body mirrors mastery of the spirit, and how small acts of submission shape the destiny of the chosen. There are lessons hidden in ancient Shaolin wisdom that the world rarely speaks of, lessons about patience, observation, and the unseen energies that prepare a person for extraordinary service. Stay with me until the end, and you will see how these ancient practices are not relics of the past but keys to unlocking the power that has already been placed within you. The path of the chosen one is not easy, but it is precise, purposeful, and profoundly transformative. Welcome to our channel, Shaolin Soulfire. Here, we ignite the spirit and awaken the mind. Subscribe now and join us on the journey of inner mastery and divine alignment. Your call is waiting. True power does not announce itself. It waits quietly, like water settling after a storm, like a shadow that moves only when the light bends just so. Strength begins in stillness, not in noise, not in display, but in the calm center of your being, where thought and breath converge. The Shaolin masters understood this long before the world chased loud victories. In the monastery, a student may spend hours seated in meditation, watching the rise and fall of the chest, counting each breath with precision. At first, it seems like doing nothing, but in that silence, the mind begins to unravel the knots of distraction. Every racing thought, every urge to act without understanding is seen and released. Controlled breathing is more than an exercise. It is a bridge between the body and the mind, a tool to anchor awareness in the present moment. Clarity comes only through patience. A warrior who strikes without it is like a blade swung blindly in the dark. Energy is wasted, purpose is lost. The quiet cultivates insight. It teaches timing, the subtle discernment of when to act and when to remain still. Even the strongest strike loses its power if it is driven by haste rather than intention. Many ignore silence, fearing emptiness or thinking it is weakness. Yet, the master knows that in stillness all answers reveal themselves. The world is loud, and chaos tempts you to follow its rhythm. But true mastery lies in listening to the breath, to the heart, to the unspoken guidance that surrounds you. In the space between thought and action, in the calm before motion, that is where strength awakens. The more you honor this quiet, the more your actions will carry precision, depth, and power beyond what noise alone could ever achieve. Every movement carries intention. In the quiet halls of the Shaolin monastery, the sound of controlled steps and measured breaths is more than training. It is a lesson in living. The body is not separate from the spirit. It is a reflection, a mirror in which inner mastery is revealed. Each strike, each stance, each slow shift of weight is a conversation between the mind and the muscles, between thought and action. Discipline of the body begins with repetition, yet repetition is more than habit. It is patience in motion. The novice learns to endure discomfort, to push past fatigue, and to embrace the slow shaping of strength. In this process, resilience is born. The body bends without breaking, yielding to effort yet remaining steadfast. And as the muscles learn control, the mind learns focus. Awareness deepens, not just of physical boundaries, but of subtle currents within, the rise of emotion, the pull of distraction, the rhythm of thought. Shaolin masters often describe the body as a temple. It is a vessel, sacred in its form, capable of carrying something greater than itself. When the body is trained with reverence, it becomes a home for clarity, patience, and higher purpose. Every disciplined movement aligns the inner and outer, teaching humility and respect, both for oneself and the unseen forces that guide life. True mastery is never performance, it is integration. Strength without awareness becomes mere force. Speed without control becomes chaos. But when the body is disciplined, the spirit follows naturally, attuned to rhythm, harmony, and intention. What begins as physical training transforms into a path of inner refinement, where each day of practice sculpts not only the form but the essence. In this unity, the body becomes a living instrument of higher purpose, prepared to carry the work that only the ready can perform. Every step, every breath, every motion is not simply a passage through space. It is an expression of energy, a ripple that touches more than the immediate moment. In the quiet practice of the ancients, each action is observed as carefully as the rising sun, with full attention and reverence. Nothing is wasted, nothing accidental. The body moves, but the mind is present, guiding with awareness and intention. Mindfulness is the bridge between thought and deed. Without it, energy scatters, and action becomes reaction, blunt, unrefined, and disconnected from purpose. The Shaolin masters teach that awareness must be cultivated at every level, in breathing, in posture, in how one lifts a hand or places a foot. Each act is an opportunity to refine presence, to align the inner currents with the world outside. This practice transforms even the simplest tasks into exercises of clarity and discipline. When the mind is fully engaged in the now, choices emerge naturally. Decisions are no longer forced by habit, desire, or fear. They arise from a place of deeper understanding, tuned to guidance that is subtle yet undeniable. Every movement carries a weight beyond the physical. It resonates with intention, with the unseen currents of the universe that respond only to those who act with full awareness. Over time, mindfulness becomes second nature. It is no longer a technique but a way of being. The body moves, the mind observes, and the spirit integrates, creating harmony between action and insight. In this state, nothing is hurried, nothing wasted, and every choice, however small, reflects readiness for the work that lies ahead. Life itself becomes a form of meditation, and through careful attention, the path of higher purpose unfolds with clarity, precision, and quiet power. In the stillness of practice, the mind becomes a mirror. Each thought that arises, each flicker of emotion, each impulse that stirs within is seen clearly, without resistance or judgment. This is the art of inner observation, a silent witnessing that reveals the landscape of the self. The Shaolin masters teach that mastery begins here, not in outward feats, but in the quiet understanding of what moves within. To observe without judgment is to step back from the endless pool of habit and desire. The mind often carries hidden patterns, unnoticed fears, and attachments that quietly shape every choice. Left unchecked, these forces lead away from purpose, scattering energy and blurring clarity. Through careful attention, these inner currents are revealed. A fleeting anger, a persistent worry, an unspoken need, all become visible and acknowledged, not suppressed or acted upon. Self-observation is more than awareness. It is discipline. Each day, each moment, the practitioner returns to the self, like a gardener tending a sacred space. By noticing impulses and reactions, one learns restraint. By witnessing emotions without surrendering to them, one cultivates balance. Patterns that once controlled action lose their grip, and space opens for intentional choice. In this practice, the mind becomes refined, like water settling in a clear pool. Hidden fears dissolve, attachments loosen, and the path of higher purpose becomes visible. The spirit grows resilient, attuned to the subtle guidance that comes only when the self is transparent and honest. Inner observation transforms chaos into clarity, confusion into insight, and restlessness into centered power. It is here, in the quiet act of watching oneself, that true freedom begins, and with it, the readiness to serve a purpose far greater than the self. Clutching too tightly binds energy. The Shaolin masters teach that the hands which grasp cannot also receive. To walk the path of higher work, one must learn the art of letting go, not through force but through understanding. Ego, the craving for recognition, the need for control, all these chains obscure the flow of purpose and cloud the clarity of action. Letting go is a quiet practice. It begins in the mind, noticing where attachment takes root, a thought of pride, a fear of failure, a longing for approval. These are the small knots that, when untied, allow energy to move freely. The body relaxes, the heart eases, and the mind opens. Space emerges where divine will can pass unhindered, guiding decisions, movements, and intentions with precision. Surrender, in this sense, is not weakness. It is the discipline of alignment. It requires courage to release the familiar and trust in the unseen currents that carry the work forward. The monk vows not to submit blindly, but to open fully. In every gesture, every choice, surrender becomes active, conscious, and intentional. Ancient wisdom teaches that the world holds illusions that tempt the mind to cling: status, wealth, praise. These are distractions from the greater work awaiting the ready soul. By loosening the grip on outcomes and embracing uncertainty, the practitioner discovers a quiet freedom. Action flows naturally, without struggle or resistance, guided by insight rather than desire. In this space, mastery grows. The heart is no longer tethered to fleeting appearances. The spirit becomes a clear channel, capable of carrying strength, wisdom, and purpose without distortion. Letting go is not giving up. It is stepping aside, bowing inward, and creating the conditions for something far greater than the self to move through. It is here, in surrender, that true alignment with destiny begins. Greatness is rarely forged in a single moment. The Shaolin masters remind us that mastery grows like a tree, rooted in patience, nourished by repetition, and strengthened by steady care. Sudden bursts of effort may flare brightly, but they fade quickly. True power is cultivated through consistency, through small, disciplined steps that accumulate over time. Each day offers a quiet opportunity to practice. Mindful breathing in the morning, a moment of reflection at noon, deliberate movement in the body, all are threads woven into the fabric of inner mastery. These rituals may seem simple, even mundane, but their repetition shapes the mind, steadies the emotions, and aligns the spirit with higher purpose. The body remembers what the mind practices. The mind reflects what the heart honors. Through small, intentional acts, energy is refined and directed. Consistency also teaches resilience. When faced with challenge or fatigue, the practitioner learns to persist, not through force, but through devotion to the path. Patience becomes a form of strength, and focus becomes a shield against distraction. Every repeated action, no matter how minor, builds the foundation for decisions and movements that carry precision, wisdom, and power. Ancient wisdom emphasizes that the journey is gradual. The monk's first stance is never perfect. The breath at the beginning of practice is rarely steady. But with time, the rhythm becomes natural, the body fluid, and the mind clear. Mastery is not an endpoint, it is a continuous unfolding, a reflection of steady effort over months and years. In the same way, alignment with higher purpose is cultivated daily. Small, consistent steps open space for insight, guidance, and strength to enter. Through quiet discipline, the practitioner becomes prepared, not suddenly, but inevitably, for the work that destiny has set before them. Consistency is the unseen force that transforms potential into presence, intention into action, and effort into true mastery. A river flows with both strength and patience, carving its path through rock while yielding to the curves of the land. So too must the practitioner learn the balance between action and reflection. Shaolin philosophy teaches the middle path, neither rushed, impulsive motion nor endless hesitation. True mastery emerges where thought and movement meet in harmony. Reflection is not passivity, it is the quiet study of circumstances, the mindful observation of cause and effect, and the disciplined pause that allows insight to surface. A warrior who strikes without reflection may act swiftly, but without direction. A mind that contemplates endlessly may never move at all. The middle path requires discernment, patience, and the courage to act only when clarity is present. Each deliberate pause sharpens the next action. Strategic reflection allows the practitioner to understand not just what must be done, but how it aligns with purpose. Awareness of timing, intent, and consequence ensures that every movement carries precision. In this rhythm, action is not effort alone. It becomes a language of intention, a vessel through which higher guidance flows into the world. Discipline of the body and stillness of the mind converge here. The stance is firm, the breath steady, the awareness wide. Through this practice, the outer world becomes a mirror of inner understanding. Even the smallest gesture, a step forward, a choice made, a word spoken, resonates with clarity and power because it is informed by insight rather than impulse. Ancient teachings remind us that the most effective work is never rushed. It is measured, thoughtful, and aligned with the deeper currents of life. By balancing reflection with action, the practitioner transforms every motion into a deliberate expression of mastery, turning ordinary acts into instruments of purpose. In this balance, the path unfolds with elegance, strength, and unwavering direction. The path of purpose is rarely crowded. Often it winds through solitude, where the footsteps of others are absent and the eyes of the world cannot comprehend the direction. To walk this path requires courage. Not the loud bravery of defiance, but the quiet, steady faith that sustains one when the familiar fades and uncertainty grows. Those called to higher work learn early that validation from others is fleeting. Praise, approval, and recognition are external mirrors that rarely reflect the truth of the soul. The courage to stand alone emerges when the heart no longer seeks these reflections, when the mind trusts its own discernment, and when the spirit bows to guidance that is unseen yet undeniable. Solitude is not emptiness, it is a forge where inner strength is tempered and resilience is cultivated. Faith becomes the companion of the solitary traveler. It is the quiet assurance that the steps taken in silence, the choices made without applause, are aligned with a purpose far greater than immediate understanding. Ancient Shaolin teachings emphasize that clarity is often found in isolation, where distractions fall away and the inner voice can speak without interruption. To walk alone is to embrace responsibility. Every decision carries weight, every action resonates with intent, and every pause is measured by awareness. This is the discipline of self-mastery, learning to move with integrity even when no one watches, to act with precision even when no guidance is offered, to trust the unseen currents of life while maintaining balance and composure. The chosen path does not follow the patterns of the crowd. It is a personal journey shaped by the inner compass rather than the shifting tides of society. Courage is the key that opens this way, allowing the soul to navigate darkness, embrace solitude, and walk steadily toward the work that only the ready can fulfill. True purpose is revealed when every action, word, and thought moves in harmony with something greater than oneself. Alignment with divine will is not imposed. It is cultivated like tuning a delicate instrument until its sound resonates perfectly with the unseen rhythm of life. When the mind is still and the heart is open, guidance flows naturally and choices emerge with clarity and precision. Prayer, meditation, and ritual are not mere practices. They are anchors. They draw scattered energy inward, creating a channel through which intention can move freely. The Shaolin masters teach that consistent inner discipline refines perception, allowing one to sense subtle currents and follow paths that remain invisible to those unprepared. Every breath becomes a reminder, every movement a declaration of readiness to serve. Being chosen carries responsibility that transcends personal desire. The path is not for glory, reward, or recognition. It is for service, uplifting others, enacting justice, and manifesting work that reflects higher wisdom. True alignment dissolves the ego, replacing ambition with devotion, attachment with clarity, and haste with patience. Actions become deliberate instruments of purpose rather than reactions to circumstance. Ancient wisdom emphasizes that alignment is ongoing, not a single achievement. It is a daily practice of awareness, reflection, and conscious choice. Each moment offers an opportunity to attune more deeply, to act in accordance with principles that are eternal rather than fleeting. The body, mind, and spirit move together, synchronized with the currents of divine will, like a river flowing naturally along its course. When alignment is embraced fully, the chosen one becomes a vessel. Strength, clarity, and compassion flow through seamlessly. Work is no longer labor, it becomes an expression of sacred intention. Life itself transforms into a living meditation, where every decision, every gesture, and every thought serves the higher purpose that called the soul to this path. The path of the chosen one is not discovered by chance. It begins with readiness, a heart open, a mind still, and a spirit willing to listen. Mastery of self through silence, discipline, mindfulness, and surrender creates the vessel through which higher purpose can flow. By practicing these principles, one learns to align inner strength with divine guidance, transforming each thought, each action, and each moment into meaningful service. Shaolin wisdom reminds us that the journey is both inward and outward. The work begins within, cultivating awareness, refining the mind, and bowing to the process of growth. From this inner foundation, actions extend into the world with clarity, intention, and impact. Every choice becomes an expression of purpose, every day an opportunity to live with integrity and presence. Carry this lesson into your own life. Notice the quiet signals guiding you. Commit to small, consistent practices that strengthen your body, mind, and spirit. Release attachment, observe your inner world, and move with deliberate intention. In doing so, you step into the role of a living instrument of purpose, ready to serve, uplift, and enact the work that only you can accomplish. Thank you for joining us on this journey. May your path be calm, your actions intentional, and your spirit aligned with the higher calling that seeks you. If this message resonates, like this video and subscribe to our channel, Shaolin Soulfire, where we continue to explore the timeless wisdom that awakens the mind and ignites the soul.